I'm 75. I let fear decide my life. Please don't do the same. The most dangerous lie isn't that you'll fail. It's that you have time to try again later. I'm 75 years old. And I spent most of my life believing a story that destroyed me from the inside out. Not all at once. Slowly. Like rust eating through metal you can't see until the whole thing collapses. Everyone told me to be careful, to be smart, to wait for the right moment, to make sure everything was perfect before I took a chance. And I listened. I listened to all of it. I built a life that looked responsible on the outside, while my dreams died quietly in the dark. Everything you think you know about playing it safe is wrong. Society handed you a script. Get the degree. Get the job. Don't make waves. Don't stand out too much. Wait your turn. Keep your head down. And one day, when everything is just right, when you've checked all the boxes, when you've saved enough, when the kids are grown, when you retire, when the timing is perfect, then you'll finally live. But before I tell you what happened to me, you need to understand something. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't unmotivated. I worked hard. I showed up. I did everything right according to the rules I was given. And that's exactly what killed the person I could have been. I'm talking to you today because I'm running out of time to say this. Not just for me, for you. Because I see it everywhere now. I see people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, making the exact same mistakes I made. Postponing, waiting, playing it safe, and I can't watch it anymore without saying something. If you want more stories like this, stories that tell you the truth nobody else will, hit subscribe. Because what I'm about to share isn't comfortable, but it might be the thing that saves you from waking up at 75 with a list of regrets longer than your list of memories. For 40 years, I had a good job, benefits, steady paycheck. I showed up at 8. I left at 5. I did what was expected. I smiled at the right meetings. I nodded when the boss talked. I never caused problems. On paper, my life worked. I had a decent apartment. I paid my bills. I took a modest vacation every couple of years. I was responsible, reliable, safe. But inside, I was hollow. I'd sit at my desk on Tuesday afternoons when the office was quiet, and I'd feel this weight in my chest. Not pain, just emptiness. Like I was watching my own life through a window. The fluorescent lights hummed. The coffee in my mug went cold. And I'd think about the things I wasn't doing, the book I wasn't writing, the trip I wasn't taking, the person I wasn't calling, and then I'd push it down. Because I had bills to pay. Because I had responsibilities. Because that's what adults do. I wasn't living. I was going through the motions. The moment everything changed happened on a Thursday morning in March. I was 68 years old. I was standing in my kitchen, holding a phone. The sun was coming through the window, and I could see dust particles floating in the light. My doctor's voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm people use when they're about to say something that will crack your world open. He said words like biopsy and irregular, and we need to run more tests. My hand started shaking, just a little. Enough that the phone trembled against my ear. I sat down at the kitchen table. The wood was cold under my palms. I could hear my neighbor's dog barking outside. And for the first time in decades, I thought about all the things I'd said no to. All the doors I'd closed. All the chances I'd let slip away because I was afraid. Not afraid of dying. That came later. In that moment, I was afraid of something worse. I was afraid I'd already wasted my one life. And that I'd done it on purpose. And that's when I realized the lie I'd been living. The lie wasn't just in my head. It was in every choice I'd made for 40 years. It sat at the center of every decision, every postponement, every maybe later, every not yet. The lie was this: I have time. I have time to switch careers. I have time after I get the promotion. I have time when I save more money. I have time when the kids are older. I have time when I retire. I have time when things settle down. I have time when I'm more prepared. I have time when I'm less afraid. The goalposts kept moving, and I kept letting them. I told myself I'd travel after I retired. Then retirement came, and I told myself I'd travel after I paid off the house. Then the house was paid off, and I told myself I'd travel after my knees felt better. Then my knees got worse. I told myself I'd write that book when I had more free time. But free time never came. Or it came, and I filled it with television and errands and reasons why tomorrow would be better. I told myself I'd reconnect with my brother after things were less busy at work. But work was always busy, and now he's gone. And I can't get that time back. When was the last time you said, someday, to something that mattered? When was the last time you traded a real experience for the promise of a safer future? I had a coworker named Paul. We started at the same company within months of each other. For 30 years, we sat in adjacent cubicles. Paul loved photography. He had this old film camera he'd bring out at company picnics, and his whole face would change when he talked about light and composition. He showed me photos once of a trip he'd taken to Iceland in his 20s. Mountains and waterfalls and skies that looked painted. He always said he'd go back. He had a whole plan. He'd retire at 65, sell the house, buy a good camera, and spend a year traveling. He talked about it for decades. It wasn't a fantasy. He had spreadsheets, budgets, itineraries. He died 6 months before his retirement date. Heart attack at his desk on a Monday morning. At his funeral, his daughter said something I'll never forget. She said, "He spent his whole life getting ready to live." That sentence followed me home. I started making a list after Paul died. Not right away. It took months. But eventually, I sat down with a notebook and I wrote down everything I regretted. Not the things I did, the things I didn't do. I regret not taking that job in Seattle when I was 34. It paid less, but it was in a field I actually cared about. I said no because it felt risky, because I was afraid of starting over, because I told myself I needed stability. I stayed where I was, and I stayed miserable. I regret not going to my niece's wedding in Portugal. The flight was expensive. I told myself it wasn't practical. I told myself I'd visit her another time. I never did. She sent me photos. I wasn't in any of them. I regret not asking that man to coffee. His name was Daniel. We'd talk in the grocery store sometimes. He made me laugh. I could tell he was interested, but I was afraid. Afraid of rejection. Afraid it wouldn't work out. Afraid of what people would think. So I smiled politely and went home alone. I regret not calling my mother more often. She'd leave voicemails. Long ones, rambling ones. About the garden and the neighbors and what she cooked that week. I'd listen to them while doing dishes and think, I'll call her this weekend. But the weekend would come and I'd be tired and I'd tell myself next weekend. And then one day, there were no more voicemails. I regret not learning to paint. I took one class in my 20s. The instructor said I had potential, but I didn't go back. I told myself I wasn't good enough, that I needed more talent, that it was silly to pursue something I'd never make money from. I still have the brushes in a box in my closet. I haven't opened it in 50 years. I regret not telling my father I forgave him before he died. We had a fight when I was 19. Something stupid. Pride and stubbornness on both sides. We spoke at holidays after that, but the wall never came down. I told myself I'd talk to him about it someday. Someday when I was less angry. Someday when he apologized first. He died with that wall still standing. I regret every time I chose comfort over connection. Every time I stayed home instead of showing up. Every time I said, maybe next time, and there was no next time. Not the promotions I didn't get. Not the money I didn't make. Not the titles I didn't earn. The moments, the people, the small chances I let fear steal from me. Rain on the window at night and no one to sit with. Kitchen light in the morning and no one to talk to. A phone that doesn't ring because you stopped calling first. That's what regret looks like. It's quiet. It's ordinary. It's everywhere. When I finally sat down and looked at what actually mattered in my 75 years, the list was embarrassingly simple. The people I loved and whether they knew it. The moments I was fully present instead of half checked out. The times I chose meaning over comfort. The experiences that changed me, even a little. The small acts of courage that didn't feel like courage at the time. That's it. That's the whole list. Everything else, the promotions, the salary, the title, the car, the square footage, the 401k, it all fades. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm saying it matters way less than you think. And it definitely matters less than the dream you're starving because you're too afraid to feed it. I started changing things at 68. Late, so late, but not too late. I started saying no to things that didn't matter. Committee meetings I only attended out of obligation. Social events that left me drained. Requests for my time that had nothing to do with my life. I started saying yes to small risks. I joined a writing group. I took a ceramics class. I reached out to an old friend I hadn't talked to in 20 years. We met for lunch. It was awkward for 10 minutes. Then it wasn't. I called my brother. We'd been polite strangers for a decade. I called him and said, "I miss you. I'm sorry I let so much time pass." He cried. I cried. We talk every week now. I stopped waiting for permission. From who? From what? I'm 75. The clock is ticking. Every day I wait for perfect conditions is a day I don't get back. I started protecting my health like it was the only thing standing between me and the life I still wanted to live. Because it is. I walk every morning. I eat real food. I sleep. Not because I'm scared of dying. Because I want to be alive for whatever time I have left. You don't have to quit your job. You don't have to sell everything and move to Bali. You don't have to blow up your life. But you do have to stop lying to yourself about time. You have to stop acting like you're going to live forever. You have to stop trading the person you want to be for the safety of staying the person you've always been. Start small. Call someone. Sign up for the class. Book the trip. Say the thing you've been holding back. Not someday. This week. You're not too old. You're not too late. But you are running out of time. We all are. I'm 75. I let fear decide most of my life. I let it pick my job, my city, my relationships, my daily choices. I let it whisper, "Not yet," until "not yet" became "not ever." I'm telling you this because I don't want you to be me at 75. I don't want you to sit in a quiet room with a list of things you didn't do because you were afraid. I don't want you to watch other people live the life you were too scared to reach for. Fear is going to be there. It's always going to be there. But it doesn't have to be in the driver's seat. If this hit you, if something in this story felt familiar, leave a comment and tell me one thing you're going to do differently. One call you're going to make. One chance you're going to take. One fear you're going to ignore. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who's been playing it safe for too long, share this with them. Sometimes we need permission to stop waiting. Consider this your permission. Hit subscribe if you want more of these conversations. I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to tell you the truth. And the truth is, your time is running out. So what are you going to do with it?